Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Professional Raconteur. I'm Dan Wickline, and tonight we're going to talk about The Batwoman, the new CW series that debuted a few weeks back, and as of last night we saw episode number 5. Now, if you're keeping track and watching the episode titles, you'll notice that each one of them is a reference to Alice in Wonderland, which is a major theme in the series. Now, I gotta admit up front that this isn't quite what I expected it to be, and I am very pleased by that. You get your basic CW series, you expect certain things, and this has been very different from that. This has been a much more psychological play. We've been much more focused on the relationship between the Kane family, between Kate, Beth, and their father, as well as her stepmother and stepsister. Now, the big surprise here for me isn't that Ruby Rose is doing a great job as Batwoman, as Katie Kane. I expected her to do that. I saw her performance in the original Elseworlds crossover, so I thought she could do a good job and was looking forward to it. Rachael Skarsten, on the other hand, is the one that surprises me. Now, she's already been in the Batverse in the past, having played a version of Black Canary in the original Birds of Prey television series, so it's very cool to have her back. But her performance as Alice has really been the showstopper. She's half Joker, half Mad Hatter. I mean, I think the Mad Hatter idea comes up because of the Alice in Wonderland theme, but she's a very interesting character. She's very damaged. And in the 5th episode, we get to see a lot of what happened to her. If you haven't been following along, the basic idea here is that when Kate was a kid, there was an accident on the bridge. Batman came by, secured the vehicle, and then went on to take on try to save a bus full of kids. And in doing so, he thought he had secured the vehicle. Kate was in the car with her mom and her twin sister, Beth. Well, Kate crawled out, the cable hole or the trunk malfunctioned or something, and the car went over the edge. They thought Beth and her mom perished after finding bone fragments, and they moved on from there. Well, it turns out that the bone fragments were not actually Beth's. They were fake. And I won't get into... it's hard to do this without doing some spoilers. So we learned that Beth's entire story involves her being taken in by someone and kept there to befriend his son, who goes by the name of Mouse, who looks like is going to be a major character going forward in the season. Mouse is played by Sam Littlefield and is already set up to be in 4 episodes this season, this being the first. So with the fact the show just got its full season order, that might change. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how they've got Mouse planned out. But the character... I don't know if it's an original character. I don't know if Alice is an original character to the Batman universe. I consider myself quite knowledgeable in DC lore, but I'm not familiar with Alice. She feels like, I said earlier, a Mad Hatter takeoff with elements of the Joker and Harley Quinn kind of all mixed together. And if she is an original creation, if Mouse is an original creation, they've done a really good job of it. I haven't read that many Batwoman comics, so she may be a villain from the Batwoman universe. I don't know. That said, she's very entertaining, and Skarsten plays her just larger than life and really gets everybody's attention when she's on screen. Now, a big thing that happened in this episode is it was a throwaway reference having to do with Mouse and how he had just gotten out of Arkham during the breakout. Now, the reason that is important is when we met Batwoman in Elseworlds, there was a breakout at Arkham Asylum. Now, the beginning of the season, Kate first finds the costume, first is wearing it, but when we met her in Elseworlds, she was a little more experienced. It looked like she had at least been wearing it for a while and had already been established and had gotten to the point where she was wearing the wig. The red wig didn't pop up until episode 2 or 3, maybe 3, with the one where they introduced Hush. Or, what's Hush's real name? Yeah, Tommy Elliott. They introduced Tommy Elliott. So that's when the red wig showed up, and she was wearing the red wig in the Elseworlds series. So at some point we knew that there was going to have to be either a time jump or some way to explain when Elseworlds took place in this history. Well, that happened tonight. So obviously between episodes 4 and 5 is when she met the other heroes. Now there's no other reference to them. There's no, oh yeah, the Green Arrow does this or whatever. She just, it's just Lucius, it's Luke Fox, and Luke makes a comment to Mary. Mary is the stepsister. So when they're talking about it and trying to figure out the whole skin taking thing, but anyway, the good thing about the show is that it's not a carbon copy of the other CW shows. There's a lot more family. There's a lot more psychological aspects to it. They play in that universe that Batman likes to play in. You look at Batman's villains, and most of them are a psychological mirror to issues that Batman has, and they seem to be kind of going down that route here with Alice. We did get another villain. We got Mockingbird. That's, I believe her name is. And we got introduced to Tommy Elliott, who becomes Hush. So, Magpie. I'm sorry, Magpie was the other villain. So we've got those two villains so far, and we've got Alice. But we're 5 episodes in, and Alice is the big focus. Even in the episode with Tommy Elliott, Alice ends up coming in to save Kate. So there's that. The casting has been really good, along with Rose and Skarsten. Dougray Scott is doing a really nice job as Colonel Jacob Kane. I'm enjoying Cameron Johnson as Luke. I think he's pretty interesting, as well as Nicole Kang as Mary Hamilton. I don't think they've developed much with Catherine Hamilton Kane. I think she needs a little more. But Megan Tandy's performance as Sophie Moore is starting to get interesting. I think she's going to be a lot more than just the ex, that's on the team. She's going to be a bigger role as well. They've put together a pretty good ensemble here, which is interesting for a show with a single character. But if you've noticed, that's kind of what the CW does. The Flash, there's Team Flash. Arrow, there's Team Arrow. Well, they're building Team Batwoman quite quickly here, and I think Mary is going to end up being part of the secret as well pretty quickly. So overall, I'm really liking the series. I like how they've went ahead and tied the where Elseworlds fits in. It makes sense. They're going to have to move along a little faster if she's going to be part of Crisis. We're only like 4 episodes away from Crisis, so it still feels like there's going to need to be a time jump because this series is basically a year behind all the others. So I would expect that in the next few weeks. I don't know if Alice is a season-long arc, if she's the focus of the first half, since they just now announced they were getting more episodes. Maybe there'll be a different story in the second half. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how she plays into the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossovers. I like the tech. I like a lot about this show. It's stronger than I expected, and I don't know if it's doing a lot of good for Supergirl, because to me, and this is just me, Supergirl's been kind of the weakest of the CW shows, and putting Batwoman in front of it is kind of highlighting that a little bit. I like Supergirl, don't get me wrong. I watch it, I follow it, but it does rank at the bottom of the the CW DC shows. And Batwoman is really strong. I'd move it up. I'm still, Arrow's still my favorite, but I put it up there near the Flash now. I think it's really strong. The writing's good. The acting is really strong. I think both Skarsten and Rose and Scott are doing some really good work, and I can't wait to see how this moves forward. This dynamic they've created between the two daughters and the father, and the good and evil, and it really should be. I mean, there's so much deception going on there, and if you're Jacob Kane, you've got to really be reeling from all this. Your dead daughter is back and is trying to destroy your city and stabs you. Your other daughter comes back and is angry at you and refuses to join your company. And, if he finds out she's Batwoman, that ought to be interesting. And then you throw in the fact that his second wife lied to him. I mean, there's a lot of betrayal going on. There's a lot of lying. This guy just... He looked kind of shady in the beginning. Now he looks kind of like the victim in all this. Overall, if you haven't been watching Batwoman, it's a good time to go back and catch up on it. She's going to be a player in the Crisis, so if you're watching the other shows, you definitely want to catch up on this one. And that's about it for right now. I'm going to go through the other shows as well this week, and we'll talk about Supergirl, Black Lightning, Arrow, and, of course, The Flash. And I think this has been a really good season for most of them right now, and I can't wait to see more. So come back later on, and we'll talk about the other shows. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to put them down below. Also, I would appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button or the like button or any of those other things that these YouTube channel people ask for. I'm still relatively new to this, so I always forget to do that. So like, subscribe, hit a bell, whatever you need to do, I'd appreciate it. I hope you all have a good week, and we'll talk soon.